understanding Jupyter notebooks for making educational content. However, with each of these, there are several issues. So although they solve one issue, they also bring some other issues for the instructor. For example, with notebooks, although it does help with some of the interactions in the course, um, there is a lot of things that are simply simulated and not a real computing environment. So the students, for example, are not able to have a practice for using file systems. And in terms of pedagogy and the content they provide, many of the instructors are not happy about the way it is structured. But unfortunately, they're not able to edit that content. On the other side, the instructors who used Jupyter, they told us out of the box, it was awful in terms of coding and using it for education because it's designed for data science. And to make it workable, they had to build quite an infrastructure, which required a lot of time and resources that they had to dedicate for that. And not all of the instructors are able to do this because of how costly it can be. And there are other studies in the CS education community, for example, from Johnson in 2020. And they also talk about some of other pitfalls of Jupyter notebooks in a classroom, which main one was having a hidden state as students create and modify the cells in the notebook because everything is running in a REPL instead of running files as you would normally do on your machine. So based on what we saw so far, we think educational technology might need to have a design that simultaneously addresses several needs, or at least it's mindful of different issues that might cause from using them. So today I want to introduce Docable. This is the authoring experience on Docable. And as you can see, the authoring experience is really simple and very similar to Google Doc. So you can simply type your text, include images, but you can also include more interactive things like a code editor. And these code editors are actually configurable, so you can set the language that you need. So you don't always have to use Python like Jupyter Notebooks, so you can do even things in Bash or any other language. And you can specify what should be the file name when it's created. And when you're done, you simply click on share as you would do on Google Docs, and you will get a link that you can send to all of the readers. And when they open that link, this is what they will see. So this is very similar to the author view, except the content is not editable. However, the interactive components are still interactive. And they can actually modify the code cells and run it again and again. So that was a really basic example of Docable use case. But Docable also supports other things. For example, it supports including quizzes, which depending on different pedagogy strategies you want to use, you can make it based on some execution. And you can also provide practice problems, and the students are able to run it as many times as they need until they get the expected result. And this is all backed by a real computing environment. So each student that opens this page, they will get an isolated Linux environment. So if they run a code editor file, it actually creates a file in this environment. Here in this example, the instructor or the author actually provided a terminal component inside of the document, so the reader can interact with that. Docable also supports including more advanced things, like even including a recorded lecture video if you're an instructor. And so far we use Docable in several courses, from introductory to computer science courses to more advanced courses. And the feedback that we received so far from instructors was that they seem to really like it. And they told us combining all of these different things and making sure these all work together and it's shareable with simply just sharing a link, this seems like a perfect plan to them. So today I wanted to present Docable here in the live community because I would love to get more feedback from researchers here so I can improve this, and I would also be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Should I use this mic?
Okay, thank you. So now we are taking questions.
Hey, just checking. Sameen, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Okay, we have time for one or two questions from the audience or from remote. Yes.
Hi, thanks for the talk. And I was wondering, does it run locally if you don't have internet? Well,
So,
just wondering, the Linux container in the background, yeah. Well, what's the
yes.
features basically?
Yeah, so the environment is hosted. So at the moment, no, we are not using anything like WebAssembly to make a virtual environment. So the server that's hosting Docable, that also provides the Docker environments. So these are all containers. But I want to add that based on the recent things that I've been seeing, it should be possible in the future to use something like WebAssembly to run a lot of these locally. So even without the internet connection, you would be able to run this.
Okay, I had a question, Sameen. So I noticed a lot of similarities with computation notebooks like Jupyter, and I know you alluded to those differences briefly in the talk. I was wondering if you could expand a little bit more on, as an instructor, what are the core advantages and maybe like some of the future improvement directions for Docable for instructional use?
Comparing to Jupyter?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the instructor, one of the instructors who switched from using Jupyter to, they wanted to try Docable this semester, their main point was they wanted to use C++, and it was a pain for them to get it to work on Jupyter. So I think that's one. And also in terms of hosting, since Docable makes it really easy to share things comparing to notebooks. So notebooks, you have to rely on different services like with Jupyter notebooks, like for example, Mindbinder, and if your university wants to host those. But with Docable, we try to integrate that into the platform. So if you can access Docable, sharing it should be as simple as like Google Docs. So you just send a link instead of having to teach your students how to set it up on their own machine.
Great, thanks. Okay, one more hand for Sameen.